So the ASOSU Vice President, Aiden Taraku, and I, we ran on 4 main pillars before taking these offices in early June. So those included tuition affordability and fiscal responsibility, diversity and inclusion, transparency and accountability, as well as mental health and wellness, which really sounds like 8, but there's only 4 of those. And so we set these pillars not necessarily because they sounded good or because they would garner votes, but because we really believed in them. We wholeheartedly wanted to see ASOSU adopt these values, and it's been the mission of our administration to make sure that this happens. We started off the academic year with Move-In Day and the start of our voter registration campaign. So now our voter registration campaign is one of the largest initiatives that ASOSU leads, and it requires the commitment of dedicated workers and volunteers in ASOSU, as well as OSA, and the broader OSU community to make it happen. Our government relations team, they set the goal of 3,000 students to be registered before the mid-October deadline, and so this gave them only a little over 1 month to get these students registered. So that's a lot of students, and that's not a lot of time to do it. So come Move-In Day, we had some pretty lofty goals to meet, and on Move-In Day itself, when thousands of new students moved onto the OSU campus, we were able to register over 1,400 students in 1 day. This is by far the largest number of students in the history of ASOSU that we have registered in 1 single day. So give yourselves a round of applause for that. That was really, really awesome. So as the midterm elections neared their close, just over, a week ago now, students in our ASOSU Congress and in all of the branches made it very clear. They wanted to take stances on ballot measures, and they wanted to express opinions. But we found that some legal parameters prevented students from doing so. However, students elected into these positions are elected to take stances, and they want to take positions. That's why students elect them into these places in the first place, to represent student values. Because of this initiative taken, ASOSU is currently working to draft legislation for the state's long legislative session that will allow the elected student Congress to take stances on ballot measures in the future, as well as take stances on candidates. That is to say that there are times when we do not always directly see the results of some of the work that we're doing. And sometimes it does take time. I take for example, and I always think this is a great example, the Student Experience Center, which so many students in this room enjoy. Many students who voted to quite literally tax themselves by an increase in student fees at that time, they graduated before the SEC was built. And so many of those students never even got to go inside and necessarily see what it was like or enjoy it like we do as students today. And in that mindset, much of the work that we do here is meant to be carried on. We continue to build on one another's strengths, but to still advocate and to still strive for change that we may not see right away, I believe that that is a great form of altruism that has ultimately defined our predecessors. It will define our successors, as well as the people that I believe we are right now. I think that's exciting. So as an administration, we set one of our 4 pillars as mental health and wellness. And we set it as one of our main pillars primarily because we wanted to dismantle the stigmas associated with mental health and mental illness. And we wanted to highlight its effect on and importance to students, right? In our initial campaign, Aiden and I sought to place sexual assault and/or suicide response hotline numbers on the back of student ID cards. If you look at the back of your ID card, there's not too much information on the back except campus police, as well as the ID center, which is pretty helpful. So this had actually initially stemmed from past efforts in past administrations, and also from the student group Active Minds that partners with CAPS. And for some reason, we found that this had faltered for unclear reasons. So since then, we have started actively working with Student Life, CAPS, Audit Services, and the ID Center to place a CAPS crisis hotline on the back of student ID cards. This, one of our primary campaign promises, has been a goal of mine and Aiden's for a really long time, and so we're really excited to be seeing this moving forward now. It's pretty awesome. So as we pivot from fall term and we start to enter into winter term, I think we see a consistent pressure still on our current concentrations that we're looking at, and we start to explore new opportunities as they arise. As soon as winter term commences, we'll be entering into the state of Oregon's long legislative session up at the Capitol in Salem. And in coordination with the Oregon Student Association, as well as the newly established Presidential Student Legislative Advocates, ASOSU will be lobbying our state legislators up at the Capitol. And the priorities that we tackle, the issues that we choose to focus on, these will specifically stem from what students here at OSU and across the state stress as important to them. And students at OSU will directly help influence the direction of ASOSU's legislative agenda moving forward.